So you really like Commander and you're trying to get better. You've been trying to improve. You want to do things. Welcome back to our MTG Tuesdays tips and tricks, how to play Commander, as we talk about some different ways and how we can help you get better at playing Commander and being able to play Commander and improve and do different things like that. We've already gone through this series. I don't remember what number this is. It's like 6, 7, 8, something along those lines. But we're talking to try to help everyone and people improve at getting better at Commander. And today the big thing is improving your deck. So everyone is eventually going to have that first deck you start with, whether it's a pre-con or whether it's something you put together yourself. Sometimes you'll just take that deck apart, you don't like it. Maybe it's something you didn't love. But most people, as you build decks, you improve the decks. Because as you play, you're going to have a little more money. You're going to be able to trade into some stuff. You want to get stronger because you're playing with stronger people. People aren't wanting to play pre-cons anymore, so now you're wanting to step up a level. So how do you improve your deck? Well, what is the steps of improving your deck and getting it there? Well, the most important thing to start off with, honestly, in improving any deck is it's land-based. So typically in Commander, if you're buying a pre-con, the land base is not bad, but it's not great. There's a lot of good cards out there, and a lot of those cards are pretty affordable now because there's been lots of reprints. So everything from shock lands to fetch lands to the Commander lands. Commander lands are I recommend getting Commander lands are the ones that say if you have 2 or more players. Now, the only time that's bad is if you're the last, you and one other person are the only people left. Then it's not as good, but at the same time, it is still a lot of fun, and you can get those lands. So the land base is very, very important. You want to start, it's probably going to be more an expensive part, can make sense, but the nice thing is a lot of lands are there. But a lot of times when you buy a pre-con, or you first start out, you don't necessarily go straight for the strong lands. Maybe you did. Maybe you had it all. You went for the big lands and everything. Maybe you're just starting out your pre-con. A lot of lands you get come in tapped. Well, you can improve that by getting a little bit better lands, ones that come in untapped. If there's certain conditions met, then you can start improving it and get the shock lands. When we say shock land, it's a land that says when it enters, you pick 2 life, which is the card shock, or you may have it enter tapped. And then you also can get fetch lands, which there's a lot of those. Basically, it say go search your library for a... Now, there are some basic ones, so like Fabled Passage is one that says go to basic. Prismatic Vista also says go to basic, but they're untapped under certain conditions. Prismatic Vista, there's no condition. The other one is the good fetch lands are like Bloodstained Mire, Flooded Strand, those things like that. They go fetch any land that has a land type. So anything that says plains, swamp, whatever it says. So it says go fetch a plains, you can go find a Triome, a 3 color land, and put it on battlefield tap. It helps you out there. There's a lot of things. Land bases are very, very important. On top of that, you want to get your land base better. The better the land base, the better, the faster, the quicker you can play. Because if every land you have is either a basic land or comes in tapped, sometimes if you're playing in 2, 3, 4 color Commander, you don't have all the lands you need to play your Commander, to play spells. And so you're like, oh man, I'm out of, I can't do this or whatever. But as you improve your land base, it makes it a lot easier for you to be able to get the lands that you need and have the better lands out there. And yes, it does cost a little bit more. But the nice thing is they've done lots of reprints of these things. So the value of like shock lands a couple of years ago were like $30 to $50. Now most of them are under $20, which is great for people to be able to get a hold of them. The same with the fetch lands. The certain ones got just reprinted in Modern Horizons 3, dropped the price of them significantly, made it a lot more affordable for people to get. So it's a lot easier and more affordable to get all of your stuff together now, and you can do that. Now, how else do we improve our deck? How do we make our deck better? Well, the thing about it is you want to add more synergy. So as you're playing the deck, you're going to find out, how does this deck work? What do I need more of? And so as you play the deck, you may say, I need a little more card draw. So you want to add some more card draw, or you want to improve cards. So when you first build a deck, most people are getting a pre-con, you're not going to have all of the staples, the high-end staples. So for like blue, that's like things like Rhystic Study, Mystic Remora, Cyclonic Rift. White, you got things like Farewell. You might have Farewell in your deck depending on what deck you purchased or had. But there's a lot of other ones, Smothering Tithe, things like that, that are staples. There are a lot of them. A lot of them are a little more expensive cards. You also may not have all the tutors and stuff like that. So that's another thing. Start adding more tutors into your deck. You don't have to overload it with tutors, but if you get like 3 or 4 tutors that help you get stuff to your hand, that's another way to help you win and go faster. So you get the tutors to get your stuff quicker. you add stronger, more powerful creatures and cards like that. And here's the cool thing. You're always going to want to improve your deck. There's sometimes where decks, especially if you get to where I am and have like 40 plus decks, I have decks that have set and I haven't really added anything in them. Now, I may go through them at some point and be like, oh yeah, this is a good card, I need to add it. But for the most part, my decks kind of, I build them, they sit unless there's a crazy card that comes up. But there's always, if there's decks, one or two decks you're only playing all the time, you can always improve on them. You can always be like, okay, I need to add this to this. Because there's always new sets coming out about every 2 months, things like that. So every about 2 months, there's new cards coming out. So now you gotta be like, okay, what fits into my deck? You don't always have to add them, but there are stronger cards. And as the game goes along, there's stronger cards. And so at some point, if you had a deck you haven't played in a minute, a year or two, you might want to sit back and reevaluate the deck and be like, okay, what can I add? You can still play the deck, it'll still play, but there might be some better and stronger cards out now that are different. So, you know, and maybe there's a better go get ramp card or whatever like that. So as new cards come out, add them to your deck. The best way to improve your deck is just to play it, to learn how it runs, find out where it's weak, find out what you need, look and stuff like that. And then as you have the budget, as you have the money, now granted, we're not talking to people who just right off the bat have all the money and can build whatever they want. A lot of times I'm talking to people who they just got the pre-con, they're trying to build it up. So now you can slowly start adding stronger and stronger removal spells, stronger and stronger interaction, and spells like that. And you can, and better creatures, things that cost more money for you to get, and you can, as you build your collection, something that you get in there and you build it better, and it's a lot of fun. Your deck can become really, really strong. Now, you may say, you know what, I always want my deck to be right around a pre-con level, maybe a little bit of a pre-con. That's fine, but there's still ways to improve the deck to get it a little bit better. Adding lands to a deck never really adjusts the power level of a deck. It can make it a little more efficient, but it's not going to make it go from a 6 to an 8 because you added fetch lands and stuff like that to it. Those lands just help smooth it out, make it a little bit more easier to play, and it can help the overall gameplay. Now, when you start increasing the power level of the deck is when you start adding stronger and stronger cards into it. The land base does help. The land base, if you have a really bad land base, you can basically play your deck and look, this is a strong deck, but it's got a horrible land base. So it's going to be a little bit slower. It's going to take a while for things to get going. But your land base is very, very important. I highly recommend upgrading that first, slowly starting in, and as you collect more and more lands, you'll get more, and then eventually you'll have it where you can have the fetch lands and the shock lands and everything in all your decks, and you never have to worry about it. You have every single one you need, and you just go search and fetch and get them, pull them out, all that fun stuff. But that is the thing like that, and you can always improve the deck by adding stronger cards, better cards, having people evaluate your deck, have someone take a look. If you have a deck you're building and you're like, hey, could you help me out? I'm trying to do this or that. I would love to sit and look at your list and see what I can do. I can't always guarantee I'm going to be able to have the best answers, but I really enjoy building decks. I like building synergy. I like improving decks, helping people get better. And we're going to have some long form content of that hopefully in the near future as well. Me going through my decks and actually tearing them apart and making them stronger, getting new cards for them, stuff like that. But you don't always have to improve your deck, but you should slowly improve the deck because if not, it's going to fall behind. And then there's going to be, it's not going to be as strong as it was or be able to keep up with other people's deck. But if you just want to be super casual and you're like, I just don't want it to be right on pre-con, that is fine. I always keep 1 or 2 pre-cons that have not been touched. I have like 1 or 2 slightly upgraded. Basically, I add like 3 or 4 cards to it. It didn't make it much stronger, but they're a little better than like a little bit synergy, or I might change the land base a little bit in it. But I still like to have fun. I hope you guys enjoy having fun as well. And we hope you enjoy this series. If you have questions about Commander, feel free to leave them out. Or put them in the comments. We'd love to help you get better at Commander and learn different things as questions. We have a few more things to go over in this series. I think we have like 3 or 4 more of these videos we'll make, and then we'll continue that. But thank you guys so much for being here. We'd like to help people. We want to help you get better at Commander. So if there's any questions you might have about Commander, about making your Commander deck better or stronger, or what you should put in deck, feel free to reach out. Feel free to leave a comment. We try to do a video answer to that as well. Well, thank you guys so much for being here, and as always, we'll see you next time.